Just very quickly, I think we did spend a lot of time looking at ways of doing incremental cost analysis. And the message we got from having tried them out on colleagues was too complicated, too complicated. The kind of level of data we want back from you is by its nature, we're talking about 80% cuts. We're talking about doing measures which are going to be fairly radical. The cost data we're going to get from you is not going to be, we don't regard that as going to be that representative of the long run costs anyway. All we want you to encourage you to do is to do the cost effectiveness calculations yourself to be able to compare different measures. Right, that's the crucial point, but not after. No NPVs, we had that in the beginning, we dumped that. No discount rates, simple, very simple economics. Well, that's a tricky one. Personally, I think my advice would be to say, the point of doing the cost effectiveness analysis is to compare what you're proposing with measures which are sort of common or garden, perhaps need implementation, such as installation controls, boilers. Okay, so if you've got something new, I think it would be reasonable to have a stab at what you think the long run costs would be. Yeah, but again, it would be very nice, and also, but bear in mind, you've also got to come up with the costs for actually doing it on this particular project, because that's the basis for your phase 2 application.
Just to make a comment, I mean, this is about innovation. So what we're asking you to do, effectively, is to say, we plan to do this to the building. It's going to cost this much to do. It's broken down by materials and components and like this. We don't need, we're using these type of electrical sockets, and they're going to cost X per unit. It's not at that level of detail, because it's an innovation project. We want to know you plan to achieve this level of cut in carbon, this level of primary energy. That's what you think you can do with this type of building. You think that it's going to cost you this to do it. And it has these innovative ideas, which might be combinations of technologies or a particular way of putting a package together. You think it's exciting for the following reasons. I mean, you've actually got to convince us you believe in this. We think it's exciting for the following reasons. And, the beginnings of, and we think that it is scalable up, and it would scale up like this, and the cost, there are some high costs in here at the moment. We expect those to drop because of the following reasons. And that's all. If you were applying to one of the normal technology strategy board competitions, that's exactly the level of detail you would be giving. This is why it's interesting. This is what we think we might be able to achieve. It's going to cost us this much to get to the next point, and we'll spend the money like this. This is not lowest cost procurement. This is innovation. Right, so you say, well, actually, we think it's going to cost this to do. I mean, it's a guess. Every project, everybody who applies to us is making a guess at what they're going to spend. And we agree a budget between them. And then that's the budget, because we obviously can't add to it later. But there's no reason why you go, oh, I'm going to shave a bit here and there, because I think if I can get £5,000 less than the next time, I'll get it. Because that's not what it's about. It's about innovation.
I don't think we're going to compare projects on, this one's 110, this one's 115. I think we're looking for what's interesting about the project, and what about it do we think, oh yeah, that might work. Let's go for that. That's interesting.
We had two solutions which were absolutely identical. And one was 150,000 and one was 75. You might look at it and go, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But, if someone is doing it one way and someone's doing it another way, we want an honest estimate of what you think it's going to cost you to do it.
I'm going to ask David. Would you like to have a go at this?
Okay. Tell me what energy related it is.
Mechanical and electrical. We just meant measures related to building services rather than fabric, because all measures related to building services, even if there's district heating pipes in the ground, they do have maintenance costs, and you want people to make sure that they add at least 1% a year, even if they don't have a precise figure, because otherwise you would get unrealistic comparisons between.
So should we just do 1% for everything, or something like that?
I think you would. I think I'm trying to tell you that I want you to think about how you're going to look after the appliances, because I know it is an issue with housing associations. It is an issue about taking ownership of appliances. Is I've understood is a problem, and that in many ways a lot of you would prefer not to do it, but we have to get these LNG appliances in somehow.
Yes, at the moment, you might, if you're doing a retrofit, you might, at the one extreme, you might have an 1850s fixed solid walls house with rectangular with a roof with rooms in the roof, and at the other extreme, you might have a mid-1970s cavity wall house which already has cavity insulation and already has loft insulation and already has double glazed PVC windows with low E. We set a target of 20 for both those kinds of house to meet as best you can, or to exceed if you feel able, or to fall short if you have problems like being in a conservation area and listed and in a national park. Because my personal view is that the feasible reduction is often very large on buildings which start from a terrible energy performance now, and they may even overtake the mid-70s insulated double glazed cavity walled house, because the measures you can apply to a cavity walled house which is already filled in the cavities and already highly insulated in the loft, and if it has high-performance windows, there are very few measures you can do to it at a low cost in pounds per tonne.
Okay. Deliberate part of the strategy was to look at a fixed target.
We 2 years we would regard would be a minimum. But that's good you asked that question, because straight after coffee we're going to talk about performance measurement of the building. So we'll come on to that.